patient with myself. I mean, I'd like to think of myself as a pretty good study. I've played some really big parts before. I played a lot of title roles in Shakespeare. I just did Richard III this year, and that's pretty enormous. But this one has its unique challenges. It really does, because, I mean, I'd read it, but I don't think I realized that I never exit. I'm on stage from the beginning. I exit obviously at intermission, and then I re-enter, and I don't exit until the final blackout. I'm on stage. There's a couple scenes where I'm not necessarily in, but I'm there observing. And I have probably narration at the beginning and end of those short scenes. Yeah, you have to do everything correctly to your body while you're doing this. Like, I don't think I've had maybe one sip of a beer since I've been here. I mean, I just know, having done parts that were very large before, that you have to just monitor your body, hydrate as much as you can, get as much rest as you can, and when you're not at work, rest as best you can. And in rehearsal it's actually harder, because right now the play is 8 or 9 hours long every day. So when we actually get to performance, it's never going to be as hard as it is now, because we're running these scenes over and over and over every day. So I'm pretty bushed by the end of the rehearsal day, but I still have to go home and, have my normal responsibilities and feed myself and walk the dog, and then I'm right back in the script. Because it's also unusual. We're doing this in about a 3-week rehearsal period, which is probably as a result of the economy. Every theater in the nation has probably truncated their season in some way. And, the effect of this production is that we just have a little less time to kind of get it ready. But Paul's done a wonderful job. We've got the whole thing staged. We are currently, as of today, kind of methodically going through our Act 2, and we're about halfway through it right now. Solidifying, changing, tweaking. Trying to get as familiar as I can with every single word I say. Mr. Schaffer, our playwright, didn't do me any favors. I mean, he has, I guess it's a British sensibility about where to put a particular clause or phrase, or a repetition of adjectives or something like that, doesn't just flow off your tongue sometimes. So you really have to kind of know exactly what the thought is. I know if I've stuck a word out of place, just because I'm starting to get used to the kind of peculiar phrasing that he has. I mean, I know as far as, the journey is through his eyes. But ultimately what it's celebrating is the genius of Amadeus, isn't it? The music. I mean, Jim and I were joking the second day of rehearsal. I was like, we were listening to some of the sound cues of the music. I was like, that's the star of the play. I said, we're just chumps. That needs to take a bow. Play that music again. So, yeah, I don't know. He talks to the big kahuna almost more than anybody in the whole play, I think. It's kind of the piston of the play, is that relationship. And a lot of the narration is him kind of checking in with God, or being inspired by, or angered by. Yeah, and then I think that relationship is where the kind of biggest, most aggressive, kind of unique moments of the play are the size in which he creates that relationship with God. I mean, he hears a line and he just steps right over it and takes it that much farther and that much farther. It's almost blasphemous at times. The ideas get huge, and it's actually some of the most exciting stuff, scary and exciting at the same stuff, as an actor and as a thinking actor. And you really start kind of wrapping your head about where the kind of situation that Schaffer has put his creation of Salieri. I say his creation because I don't think any descendants of Antonio Salieri were pretty pleased with the result of this play. I think that's probably going to change from person to person to person. I think Schaffer has gone to great length to humanize Salieri. I mean, if you read the foreword in this play, there's been several revivals over the years, and each time he has kind of rewritten parts of the play, and that very topic you just asked me about whether or not Salieri is human enough or sympathetic in any way, that's the thing he was wrestling with the most. So that was the change that has evolved in the kind of journey of the play as he's rewritten it, was trying to hone in on that idea and not make him just villainous. Wow. I'm still struggling with the answer to that question right now too, because there's so, it's a huge banquet of ideas. And I think people are going to have different favorite things that kind of touch them. I think ultimately the biggest thing is probably going to be an appreciation of the genius of Mozart. And perhaps an appreciation of the genius of Schaffer for creating this story, which brings Mozart's genius forward, and also Salieri's struggle with Mozart's genius forward. And you also see, I think some of the most exciting parts of the play are seeing that creative process live. You know, those kind of, it's like sitting down and watching Shakespeare write To Be or Not to Be for the first time, you know, to be in the room when that phrase was first thought up would be really exciting. And those are the kind of moments that are laced throughout this play, where you're seeing Mozart write that particular phrase of music that you've heard hundreds of times in commercial jingles or even at the opera when you go. Quintessentially famous pieces of music that you might not, and if you're not an aficionado of opera, you may not even know it was written by Mozart, but you are going to know after you see this play. They're huge characters. And the brilliance of Schaffer is that he's created this entire world, and from the medium parts to the large parts, he's really kind of crafted and honed very unique characters that all fit into a place in this world, that all contribute in kind of quirky and funny and human and passionate ways. So there's a lot for them to choose from, I really do. And I don't mean that like it's like a big maze that they can't kind of make their way through. It's very finely focused. It really is, but it's big ideas and brilliant music.